na anope nanka esese ye adwuma nso na adwuma no eye interview a ye schedule ye with the former member of parliament for Dome Kwabenya minim se nkrofo dodo na that interview. What has happened no and say from time ye de man no besi say ye kase free anopa be 7 okay. Adwoa Safo ready say o free fie na wa ba studio ha for interview. In fact watena ne ka mu kura waba awabedu ni gate no aka no apie wo be hu ane say V8 cars be miensa wo mo ambush no aden a wo mo ema ni mpie emfrifie empanyimfo kosi ya MPP mpanyimfo the party hierarchy and wo mo akwakogu Adwoa Safo fie a ye ka say no wo mo mpesa Adwoa bepie aba interview no ewa ha now your reporters no ewo ho ye ne ka che kwabna bedo ebe kasa surely from Adwoa Safo fie na ye ne na di nkomo ye ne wo ka say party mpanyimfo a wo mo ka bia ewo nyina na Adwoa huna mane wo mo nyina block kwan no wo mo say wo mo ma Adwoa empie because interviews ne de wako ni nyina but aha ne ye headquarters aha no kra na wo ba no kra ha wo mo aha na wo ba the critical questions are you be bisa wa ha wo mo enti for those wo mo twa say Adwoa Safo interview no ebe so no she's been ambushed by the leadership of the New Patriotic Party. Waye ni BBA wono no waye ready say wo mu bie kwan ne ma no kra no a say 5 minutes kra obeba betina ha me ne na di in that vein no reporters no ejina ho unu akwabena bedo obejina ho no
the case to be declared a mistrial. Okay, we don't know if there was a conflict of interest. Say be a jury or some can say and I'm going to share an opinion on the case elsewhere on social media or anything. We don't know. And one other thing too, I want to say, during this whole proceeding, once the videos be out on social media, the PR of Anas Arabia Anas is really doing something. I just say it is really unprecedented. We don't know if perhaps some static case they told them say see no one should go on social media and declare a victory lap. Already Anas is already declaring a victory lap. We saw the lawyers on Loud Silence Media yesterday saying second there cry double scanner times 5 or so. That's a whole lot of things. So we don't know exactly where this whole thing is coming from. But then we are learning say there will be an appeal.
So can they call for appeal?
It's for sure. Yes, this morning I've got confirmation from 2 people. And Bakokra Kasa with GTV or Sonic in Japan, lawyers Nakasa, they say they'll be going for an appeal. Yeah.
Looking at it, we are also hearing say before I can bet me a call for appeal. No, he has to bring a year the whooping a year $18 million on fan betu money na hand appeal na carry. And to say when to me and fat sa $18 million na fan ba appeal ni nkoswana.
One of the things about the whole court system I like so much is that there's always a workaround. Okay. I didn't make us a workaround. Law neho, but then there are ways you can bypass it to get to where you want. Okay. This morning when I called one person, a questioner, Mibisa, and they say, why would Ken Agyapong even waste his time to follow this case in US? Now I knew the reason why Ken will probably follow up this case in US, okay? And there's a reason why Anas smartly chose New Jersey. That is because Ken Agyapong home state of Woma or Kotsna Honey Bibia New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
And the reason why Ken Agyapong Kasan I said he's been dragged into this Ojine One NJ is because he has a lot of landed properties in the United States of America. So based on all of this affirmation, Anas was say, okay, Semitrina Suaha near Castle for Bibi Mamia. Abrofon they are so strict and inline say when tima fa mamia ye beji Ken Agyapong property say wo krum ha say near their mame. Do you get what I'm saying? So the person asked the person say why would Ken Agyapong even waste the time to follow this? Nana Ken has a lot of properties in the US, and that is where I also came in to say even let's digress a little bit. It's high time African leaders, not leaders, business people start actually doing something about their economy. And perhaps your friend is saying where they save their money. I didn't make us you can't go and do this in Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
What I say? Because American they can say okay, Ken Akwaka in for journalists until you freeze seeker just like that. Banke buy and Ken Agyapong only properties be US are okoye dem wo ho. Okope dem wo ho. But essence all properties so Anas no say no. has say you boot you $5 million no in fear. You bet the properties now the amame. So that was exactly what really happened. And now smartly chose that state to make sure at the end of the day Obenya Bibi, and that is why we are seeing the victory lap all over.
Wow. It's not just say from all indication, Anas knew what he was doing. Onimpefe say what dear okodru what dear any what just say wa hit jackpot no. So right now no looking at it, I'm bound for a blame me Kennedy Japan the lawyers no. That they have failed Kennedy, and one person we know for sure say no jinemu bi ne picture square called viral Afenyo Japan so Kennedy Japan ni nua bema. So should we say he was incompetent entina ma ni nua ebetwe $18 million?
Anope nipa na amne kasa the first thing that he said was the lawyers of Ken didn't really do a good job, and let's call a spade a spade. It is true. I don't know who is representing Ken in this case, but the lawyers definitely didn't do a good job. About defamation case, usually, Obi bisa for $100 million, your man 10.
Okay.
Obi bisa for $10 million, your man 1, because you can only go high and the court can only give you low. I don't know if what I'm saying, you get it.
Sure.
Obi the mark of course and I come home sem. My bond damage is 100 million Ghana cedis. There's no way. Court because it's 100 no. They'll come like 10 or 5. Uti anyi ye 100,000. Okay, so for the jurors, the jury, all of them to say, we are going anonymously for Anas, which means King Japon's lawyers were basically ineffective. My example, in 2-3 years ago, King Japan SU a year Kevin Taylor. Because Kevin Taylor Ken Sembi say, as a Ken Scano Nya, no, it was more as a Ken Scano Nya, be a fee and echo. So Ken sued him in US, the same New Jersey court now. Now, Kevin Taylor responded. But Kevin Taylor, Ken Japan sued Kevin Taylor $9 million. But court case ni na Kevin Taylor won. Why? Because Kevin Taylor can say media minister can be the most expensive lawyers, which can say the most expensive lawyers. Kevin Taylor said I was going to get the smartest lawyer. So in this case, see I say King Japan's lawyers were ineffective, they were not up to task, and I said basically they were not smart. Why would you lose a case 80 million? I mean, yeah, man, and that's $5 million. It makes sense. Obisa 18, yeah, man, 5. What is $5 million for Ken? But $80 million, that is too much. And now we are in case of Airban say for some reason, if the case is not declared a mistrial, what will really happen is that Ken has to put down the 8 or have to put the $80 million down before you produce it. You proceed to appeal.
Okay, maybe I acquire two things.
Yeah.
Is either the case is being declared as mistrial. Ni asanko case, yasanko tina asem ni subiema ni yahwe. Na say yanye the mistrial na so be ko appeal there, na also di $80 million never.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
you have to put it down before Mbeko.
Okay.
What you say? Before Mbeko. So that is where the whole thing is coming from. But then where on the ground you see a party say King Japan lawyers say they will appeal. And I think it's high time I can wait change gears. I don't know if you realize say Anas SU King Japan for the first time. No? Anas actually got a headway. He can't slap it Ken with 100K and other things. But actually Ken came back hard. He recalibrated. He came back hard and he actually did well with the case. So I'm sure some recalibration can come in. Some lawyers will be dropped. Some lawyers will be taken. The case will really be looked at. What the point? A bit of the rebate. Anas defense in Abeba because we are learning it's the first time Anas the coin. You know, Anas actually lost it. Court able to go here. So Anas actually went for appeal. And I said we know they didn't couldn't. So there is a silver lining. Say Ken can come out of this unharmed. And I said not really battered. Say if man is born kakrana, it will be half of it.
Okay.
It will not be that 18 million, it will be 9 million. So for Anas to get the full money, then it means in Japan on the lawyers, so they didn't really do a good or diligent job.
But Anas, why is it still on this case, like Kennedy Japan case way? Because your ruling case way was Ghana. Why when they take it outside Ghana. Said they're working. And lose, then you go for appeal again. Or Jedian or Kenho.
Anas' credibility has really been battered. See, even if Ken should raise $50 million for Anas, the credibility, Anas lose no, it can't even quantum $1 million. For the first time, no, maybe who Anas picture that. Pictures are ever on social media. That was Anas with all the space we have to no, and I say, what should I did like he wants to look a little bit different. But we share the pictures I can release here of Anas Arimea Anasa. And what is really come, it is the same. Now media will say it's not him, Anas can change. It is him. The US, you can't go to court and use a different face. Remember I said biometric is at play here. So that is Anas. And